Hi, everybody. I'm Sam Charette, as you all may know. I am the event coordinator here for Spark Offices, which you're all sitting in. If you're online, you can come view our space at any point in time. We do free day passes. We're an innovative co-working space here in the heart of Manchester. We offer many different levels of membership, but one thing that we really pride ourselves on is the community, the events, and we do have lots of great amenities like free coffee, free Wi-Fi, printer. So we're a great alternative to working from home or having a larger overhead like a full office if it's not really needed. You guys are here to join us for Snacks with an Expert. This is a free event series that we do 1 to 2 times a month, and we pull in an expert, which our expert today is Kayla Frank of Frank Creative Consultants. And our experts deliver a bite-sized piece of knowledge for you guys in their industry that they specialize in. And today, Ms. Kayla will be talking about employee advocacy and how to leverage it for your business's success.
Yes.
Take it away, Ms. Expert.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming out today to Snacks with an Expert. My name is Kayla Frank, and today I will be covering an introduction to employee advocacy. Okay, so I'm going to cover a couple topics. First of all, just what it is. Secondly, why you should care about it. And then how you could implement a program for yourself for your own business. So just a quick background on myself. I am originally from North Carolina, but finished my degree at Southern New Hampshire University, and I've been in Manchester for the past 10 years. My experience-wise started out really in the agency world, which is great because I got to touch so many different industries and so many different marketing channels. And then more recently, I was focused really in the financial sector. But in January, launched my own business, my own agency, Frank Creative Consultants. So we offer a wide range of services, everything from overall marketing strategy, graphic design and branding, website design, digital advertising, and so much more. And we are actually going to be joining the downtown community. We will have an office that will be opening on Hanover Street. So we're really excited about that next step. Okay, so what is it? What is employee advocacy? Employee advocacy is using your employees to promote your brand and its initiatives. And it's usually done in a really organic way through social media or other types of digital channels. So when an employee is promoting your messages and your initiatives, they are essentially becoming a spokesperson for your brand, an advocate. Now, anyone in your organization can become a brand advocate, regardless of the department that they're in or the position that they hold. In fact, a lot of the successful employee advocacy programs are going to have a lot of people that work for the brand, who work in a multitude of different roles, who are voluntarily sharing the content that you're putting on your brand account. And by leveraging the networks that your employees have already built, you're able to expand your social reach and authentically deliver your messages to new audiences that you might not have reached before with traditional advertising means. Okay, so why should you care about this? When it comes down to it, people trust people. People form stronger connections with other people than they do a brand, which is why they are generally more receptive to the messages that your employees are putting out versus your brand account. You know, people really look at the brand account or a C-suite executive's account like an ad. So your employees really become one of your most influential resources. So, you know, there really isn't that same level of skepticism that your brand account or the C-suite executive's account or an ad will receive. So your employees can really become these micro influencers in your industry. And now this is something that your company can really leverage. So a couple of hot statistics, 84% of customers say they value the recommendations of friends and family above any other form of advertising. 77% of customers say they will buy something after hearing about it from someone that they trust. And 21% of customers say they like employee posts from companies, and that's just a rate that far surpasses anything that a social advertising campaign is going to generate. Okay, the next reason why you should care is that you're guaranteed to reach a lot more people. You know, the social networks right now are really a play to pay situation. So I think the latest statistic I saw was that only 8% of your Facebook followers are going to see anything that you post organically. So they're basically forcing you at this point to pay for those eyeballs. So if you are to enact some sort of employee advocacy program, and your employees start commenting and liking and sharing your content, you're definitely going to be able to expand that reach. You're going to increase your social shares. You're going to increase traffic to your website or to your blog. And you're really just going to improve your overall marketing costs because you're investing in that organic reach and you're not having to pay for additional eyeballs. Brand messages reach 561% further when shared by employees versus the same messages shared by the social channels. Promotional content is reshared 24 times more often when it's shared by employees versus when it's shared by the brands. And content shared by employees rather than brand channels gets an average of 8 times more engagement. So the data just aligns here. And finally, and probably the most lucrative reason why you should care about employee advocacy is that it could increase your business and revenue. You know, obviously this is one of the major selling points when you're going to your leadership team to kind of enact one of these programs. But just a 12% increase in brand advocacy can contribute to a 200% increase in revenue. 64% of employees participating in a brand advocacy program said that employee advocacy helps develop and attract new business. 25 employees who leverage social selling for leads exceed their quota by 25%. And when generated through employee advocacy, leads are 7 times more likely to close than leads accessed through traditional channels. You know, I feel like when I've worked on some of these programs in the past and helped to launch them, these are definitely the statistics that probably resonate the most, obviously with the leadership team, because we're talking about increased revenue, but a lot of times with the employees as well, especially those who are in sales or commission based, because they're really seeing the opportunity here about how employee advocacy and participation could actually affect their personal bottom lines and they can make some more money, right? Okay, so now that we've talked about why this is so great and why you should think about doing this, how do you get started with a program like this? Because obviously there's some strategy and some planning required. So before you get started, just a couple of things that you want to think about. First of all, is you want to determine your goals and key metrics. You know, this is really just going to help you to focus your efforts and to help you track your progress over time. So initially it might start out with something like engagement. So tracking from post to post, week over week, month to month, and you should start to see that engagement, you know, that incremental incline for that. But really you could even, depending on your goals, get even more granular all the way down to tracking, you know, leads that are initiated directly from an organic social push. Now, the next thing you want to do is to get buy-in from your company. So that's, you know, go into your leadership team. Obviously, an easy way to do that is to, with this information share, showing them the statistics, showing them the tons of case studies that are out there on other brands that are being positively impacted by an employee advocacy program. But it's really important to get the leadership team on board with social media because they are the ones that are really going to be able to drastically impact your efforts in getting more employees to sign up as a brand advocate and to participate in the program. And now the final step is going to be getting the employees on board. Obviously, this is the most important step because they're really the backbone of the whole program. So let's just talk about a couple ways that you can get them motivated to become an employee advocate. So first of all, again, it would be just the information share, showing them how this is affecting other brands and how this is really going to be a great thing for the company and how we, you know, really need their participation to help support those efforts. Secondly, what you could do is just really kind of reinforce the fact that besides helping the company, this is going to help them as well, kind of build their personal brand as they're going to get a better connection with the company. They're going to understand their organization better. They are going to gain more industry knowledge and to be able to become more of an industry leader within their networks. So really kind of hitting that as a selling point, that this is also going to help their personal brands. Now, a really fun way to get them involved is through some gamification. So running some contests, some healthy competition of, who's sharing the most posts, who's getting the most engagement, things like that, giving them some company swag, something like that. Obviously, everybody loves prizes and a little bit of some healthy competition. And then finally, I think the last tip I would give is just to constantly provide feedback and positive reinforcement when you see, April's, doing a ton of posts and she's sharing a lot of our content, making sure to give her a special call out for that, or just to let your employees know that their efforts aren't going unnoticed. Because what I tend to see a lot of times is when you launch a program, there's all this hype and everyone's on board and it's ready to go. And then a month goes by and you see that engagement starting to decline. So the more that you can continue that reinforcement, especially if you're a team leader with your other employees, the better off it's going to be. And then that program can continue to grow. Okay, so launching your actual program. So what does it mean? What are the employees actually going to do to participate? So there's a lot of different ways that they can participate. And first of all is to invite. They can increase your page followers by inviting their friends and family to join your page. They can engage with their content. That means the likes, the comments, the retweets. They can share your content. That's going to just increase the visibility of the messages that you're putting out there. They can share your pages. So that's just another way to gain more followers. They can share their company page to their networks. And then tagging, they can tag themselves in photos, or they can tag friends or family in the comments, people who they think would be interested in the type of content that you're putting out there. Okay, so in summary, if you haven't thought about employee advocacy, it's definitely something that should be on your radar and something that you can easily start to implement. There are actually a lot of third-party apps and tools out there that can really streamline the process, that are all dedicated just to employee advocacy. So depending on your needs, depending how much content, your company size, it might be worth looking into some of those. But overall, implementing a program is going to increase brand awareness, build your social channels. It's another avenue to generate leads from and increase revenue for your business. You're really getting, more employee buy-in. They feel more connected with the company. They're more up to date about what you guys are doing because they're following the content. And now you kind of have all the tools to start your winning strategy here. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
So why can't companies just make a requirement for employees? Share posts.
Yeah, that is a really good question. So because we are asking employees to do this, and it is their personal profiles, we don't want to make this feel like an invasion of privacy. I actually used to work at a bar, and we had these staff meetings, and we had to come in and log into our Facebook profile at the staff meeting and invite all of our friends to these bar events that were going on. And I dreaded it every week. I hated it, but my boss made us feel like it was a requirement for the job. And I feel like the company just completely took over my page. And so I built resentment toward that. So, it's definitely something that we want them to voluntarily do, because you don't want to negatively impact your company culture that way. Yes.
What would you say the first step to get the program going?
So I think the first step is, like I mentioned, kind of like getting your whole company to support that, because, it is, although we're asking like these small things, it actually can be a lot of work to kind of keep up with. So I would say that's really the most important part. Once you get your organization kind of behind the effort and you have somebody who's leading the effort and they have the tools and the team supporting them behind that, it's going to make the program a lot more successful moving forward.
it's part of the program would be maybe that, hey, everybody gets time during their workday, paid workday, to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the last programs that I worked on, it was actually, we had kind of made this weekly calendar kind of invite where it was like, hey, take 10 minutes, check out all the content that we put out this week, giving them, yeah, exactly, giving your employees that time to actively participate, where they feel like they don't have to necessarily do it on their own time on their lunch break or something like that. I think that's a great idea. Not a question, but I think one other thing I'll throw out there is, I guess when it comes to content. So, a lot of people that I've spoke with too, they're very interested in doing this program, but right now they're like, well, we're actually really not putting out that much content. So that can obviously be an issue, because if you're not really generating content, there's nothing for your employees to really react to. And then again, when it comes to keeping that momentum up to get them to continue, if they have to wait like a whole nother month before you post something, then that momentum, they're just going to forget about it. So you really want to try to keep them, give them something to be active to.
What kind of content do you recommend?
Well, obviously that's going to obviously depend on your own business and what that is, but it can be anything from posting different initiatives that your company is doing. Like in your case, it might be different projects that you're doing, and you might ask your employees to share progress pictures from your projects. It could be, infographics, or any blogs that you guys are putting out. So that's what kind of content will really vary depending on the company and the industry that you're in. Yes.
Do you have any recommendations for bridging that gap between your social profiles being very much your own personal,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of moving into the business for people who maybe aren't friends with their superiors on Facebook, or are nervous about lending those
Yes.
to
Yeah.
different parts of their life?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a great question. Recently, I launched a program with one of my clients, and one of the employees that was there was really concerned about participating, because she was under the impression that if she were to share a company post to her own page, then that would open up her profile publicly. So a lot of it sometimes just comes down to some education. So once I was able to explain to her that, no, that's not the case. Once you share something, it's not, she was nervous that all of her, the company's clients were going to be able to like see all of her page and everything like that. So once I was able to tell her that that wasn't the case, she was a lot more comfortable with it. And, and again, I think we are making it a voluntary thing. So like in another situation, I had a woman who, we were trying to proactively reach out to employees to get them to engage, on a pretty regular basis, kind of giving them that nudge, like, hey, check out the content. And I had one woman say, that's just really something that just doesn't align with me. So that's why I'm not going to post it. And we have to just be comfortable with that and respect that, these are their personal profiles. So as much as we can encourage, we want to do so, but we don't want anyone to feel like we are, again, taking over their social media profiles.
If something like that happens, would you encourage the person that she had said that to say, well, would that be an opportunity for them to have a voice in what's posted?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great point. Actually, in one of the last programs that I ran, it was kind of nice. We actually had this kind of email address set up where employees were able to kind of send ideas to us for content. So that was great, because then we were getting new ideas for content. So we don't, again, when we're talking about trying to find content, trying to make sure that we're keeping up with posting a good amount of content, that was actually ended up being a great resource for us. And it was in the financial space, and it's in a venture capital firm. So it was nice because they would hear about deals or venture deals that were going on that we weren't necessarily aware of. So that was actually a great way to, again, not only get content, but then get your employees engaged in the process. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you guys coming out, and I'd be happy to answer any questions sidebar if you have them after the fact. But thank you so much for joining me today.